Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for tuning back in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand reader, and I use the amazing Lenormand deck. We are doing our weekly reading today. We are doing an hourglass layout with my own deck, the Silhouettes deck. Let's go ahead and start with you, Aries, and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Aries, here is your hourglass, and we do have a few challenging cards. We have the mouse with the tower and whip, but we also have the beautiful star and ship, especially on the right-hand side of the hourglass. It clearly tells us that you're going to overcome something. Now, the mouse and tower tells us that this could have been dragging and it's been taking a long time, and it can also point to a waste of time. And all of these are going to be shaken out and changed for the better thanks to the star and ship. We also have the key, by the way, which is a very bright card as well. Now, the tower is also a card of work, potentially, because it's associated with official organizations and such environments. It can also point to something administrative or government, and so maybe you had been working through something, or you're dealing with something in relation to these environments, and this is what is causing you to feel drained and tired of it, and that's what you're going to be shaken out. Now, the key and ship as the first set of corner cards, this is a lovely pair for a wonderful path that opens up. There are solutions, there are opportunities that you are probably going to take on, and it can also point to a trip or at least going places. So these are exciting energies that help you change things around. The woman and star is someone who is helpful. She can represent you, but because this is a weekly reading and not a tableau, it tends to represent other people. And notice that we also have the garden, which is probably a meeting with this person. So the star is an all-around happy card, wish fulfillment, healing, all of these good things. And with the woman, it clearly tells us that this is someone supportive and who probably brings answers. She could be the one who brings this opportunity, or whom you meet, who inspires this opportunity, and also who helps you overcome the challenges that we see through the mouse and tower. Now, the key with the whip and star is a clear message of solving a problem. The key and whip is a problem, but the key is a solution card. So it really helps you overcome the challenges, especially since we have the star on the other side of the whip. So be solution oriented and take whatever challenges in stride, and know that you have answers and you have what it takes to resolve these problems, and also to get out of the situation or overcome it. Now, the woman with the garden and ship is very much a meeting or a get-together with this person. You could also be going places together, or perhaps you engage in some activity together. And it seems to start off with the meeting that we see with the woman and garden. So this clearly brings up a get-together, a meeting with this person. The key and woman is, again, a beautiful combination thanks to the key, a bit similar to the star here. And she brings answers, and so it's a good idea, Aries, to get together with this person, whoever she is really. I mean, the man and woman are flexible cards, and see how you can move forward, or see what solutions can be brought to the table so you can overcome this and move past it. The whip and garden is a bit more challenging. It points to the challenges or the environment that you are working through. I think it ties into the mouse and tower, and it T-crosses the top row. So here is where you need to solve this problem. And again, this person helps you deal with it. The star and ship, like I said, this is a lovely combination. It's the brightest combination of the layout. And it's really nice to see it on the right-hand side, because it tells us that you're going to leave all of this behind and move forward. I think you could be in for a new direction or progress. I would say even significant progress, Aries. So we see clearly that these issues are overcome and you're able to move past them into a nice direction. So really nice cards, Aries. They bring healing, success, and overcoming challenges. And I think one of the keys here is focusing on solutions, and the second key is getting the help of someone in order to do this. We can wrap up with a couple of diagonals. We have the key with the mouse into the garden, tower, and star. So this really confirms what we just said, that you do have answers and solutions to deal with the problems, and that you will move past them. The woman with the mouse and whip into the tower ship is also supportive because we have the ship on the other side of the tower. Now, normally I would have suggested that this woman could be someone who is challenging or who is being difficult, and that is possible. Maybe this environment that you're dealing with involves people like that, but it is also someone who is supporting you, or in another angle or another part of the picture for you, Aries. This is someone who helps you overcome the challenges and the things that have been dragging here in this environment represented by the tower. The ship is really nice for progress and moving past the issues, and it's really nice to see it in this order because you leave these things behind you and you move on, and you're able to resolve the issues, and you're able to move past these challenges. Now, in terms of the context where this is happening, I think Aries, it can be in a couple of different situations. It can be personal, and it can be something more professional or official or related to your administration. In all cases, I think this situation is resolved, and there is a sense of relief that we see clearly through the star and ship. Let me know what you make of these ideas, Aries. Leave me your comments. What was this issue, and who was this person who came in to help? As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with the week, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Taurus, let's get into your hourglass and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Taurus, here is your hourglass, and there's a few interesting combinations here, especially because of this snake, and also because of what we see in the middle of the hourglass. So we have the heart and garden, and this is usually a lovely meeting with someone, usually a date or some kind of happy atmosphere or a gentle kind of environment, whichever it may be. Usually the heart is a bit more personal, unless there's other cards that point to work and things like that. We're not seeing work-related, money-related cards here, so I think it's more on the personal front. So the heart and garden brings a meeting with someone or an environment or a community that you're part of. Now, the outer cards are tricky, mainly because of the snake, which is a pretty toxic card. It is the card of deception, but also the clouds brings a bit of complications, and we have the cross as well, which can be a bit heavy. And the mountain doesn't really help because it can be a card of coldness and distance when it comes to people and emotions. So the snake with the cross points to some kind of decision that you might need to make here, and also the need to turn away or move away. It's also a very good idea to be quiet and to watch and not say anything. The moon and clouds can bring some doubts. It does bring sort of the dark side of the moon, so it can be a bit more negative. It brings up doubts and the issues that are not necessarily externalized, if you see what I mean. So we see these at the corners here and outside of the heart and garden. So it sounds, Taurus, like you could be falling out of a certain environment, or you could have doubts or question marks around certain people in a certain environment that you might have thought was a bit different. The snake with the mountain and clouds is very much about getting around an obstacle. The snake and mountain often suggest, when you go around something instead of dealing with it in a more direct way. So this is definitely the suggestion here. And the clouds being a card of the mind, I would say again, focus on just watching and observing as opposed to expressing. You also don't want to talk about anything prematurely. And the snake and mountain can also suggest going around someone's back. And with the clouds, which suggests tensions and doubts and confusion, I have to wonder, Taurus, if there might not be some gossip or things going on behind the scenes that maybe you're in process of discovering. So it seems to me, Taurus, that the heart and garden can suggest that there's a place or an environment or a community or maybe a few people who are a bit deceptive, and you're figuring things out. You're in process of discovering what this place or the situation is really about. So again, this is a work in progress, and the silence element is clear with the snake. Now, the moon with the letter and cross, this suggests an invitation or an offer, and with the cross here, you could be making a decision about it. It's certainly the advice. The cross can be positive, but not really in this context. Instead, the heavier aspect of the cross comes through, Taurus. And with something like the moon and letter, which is an invitation or an offer, it's a good idea to weigh things out, to assess them, to test them out. And I think because of the top line, and we're going to see also the columns, I'm not so sure this is ideal for you. So it sounds like you're getting to know an environment, or there's an offer or something that opens up for you within this space, and I'm not sure it's aligned with you. And Taurus, you might want to turn it down. But it's up to you, of course. And you know, the cards are suggesting at least that you get into the details so that you double check and make sure that it's suited for you. The snake and moon, I think, is something deceptive. It's a deceptive offer, and a bit like the clouds, but with a bit of a more toxic element. It can warn you against an offer or certain people's intentions. So I think the stronger reading of the snake and moon in this context is warranted. The mountain and letter suggests news, probably from abroad or something online. And again, it can refer to this offer as a T crosses the bottom line. The clouds with the cross is also a more tricky or a more difficult combination, because it brings up doubts and tension, and also it calls on you to weigh things and assess things very carefully. Also, another way to look at this, Taurus, is that maybe you have to go through some tests, or maybe you have to prove yourself, you have to demonstrate something, or you have to dig in more into something, and it can be a bit challenging. So that could also be part of the situation. So I would say overall, Taurus, you could get an offer or an invitation or an opportunity, but I'm not so sure it's aligned with you, and also you might not go through with it for a variety of reasons, like tests or things that come up here. But it's definitely a good idea not to be quick to judge, and not to be quick to make a decision, and also to realize that there can be some things going on behind the scenes. So you really need to feel things out more carefully, Taurus, before you make any decision. The snake with the heart and letter into the garden and clouds supports what we said. The snake and heart is often a disappointing card combination. It points to feelings that are not genuine, deception, a sense of shallowness, and those sorts of traits. And we see it with the letter garden, and then we have the clouds. So again, this is probably not the best of opportunities for you, Taurus, and not the best of environments, whether it's personal or something else in your life. The moon with the heart and mountain would have been more positive. It can appear to be a positive opportunity. And the mountain again suggests a place abroad, or perhaps putting things on hold and slowing down with it. And then we have the garden and cross, which again, I feel the cross here is on a more negative reading. And the idea of having to evaluate this opportunity, or to rethink it, and also to test it out. Maybe the other party is testing you out as well. But again, the corner cards are very clear. And in the very least, Taurus, you don't want to rush this at all. You want to look into the details, test things out, and I think in all probability you'll find that it's not really aligned with you. So it's a quieter week. There's a lot to take in and things to navigate here. But again, very clear, Taurus, not to jump to any conclusions or to act rashly or to say yes or no quickly. Take your time with this and realize there's more to it than you might be able to see at this time. Let me know what you make of these ideas, Taurus. This is an interesting reading. Again, slow down, take it easy. As always, I look forward to your feedback. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Gemini, let's get into your hourglass for your weekly reading, and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Gemini, here is your hourglass, and we are seeing a bit of a challenging triplet. We've got the whip with the clouds and coffin, and this clearly points to an ending, especially since we have the rider with the coffin on the right hand side. And so this seems to me an end of a phase, Gemini. You have to move on and let go. Now in the middle we have the woman in clouds. She could represent you, she could represent whoever, you know, whether it's the man or woman, they're flexible. But usually it would be someone else. The woman with the clouds points to issues with this person or difficulties, and this could be what you need to move on from. Now, it's not necessarily a final ending, although I have to say the whip and coffin is quite strong. We're not seeing the scythe. Usually the scythe is like a cutoff point. But in the very least, Gemini, it's a good idea to let things cool off and move on, at least for the time being. Now, the Mouse and Rider suggests that things are not really moving forward as fast as you'd like or in the way that you'd like. Things could be dragging. There can be obstacles. I think also considering the whole, you know, layout and the cards in the layout, I feel, Gemini, that you're not really into this, and it's, you know, the energies are not really fitting. So it sounds like it's not really working and you need to move on from this relationship or whatever you have with this person. Now, the Star and Coffin is a lovely message for an ending, and it is definitely an encouragement to end things, to move on from this person or this situation and to let it go, because, you know, it sounds like it's something that's going to be relieving for you. The Mouse with the whip and coffin is a strong message here, Gemini. I think you yourself can interpret this because the cards are so obvious. We have the whip in the middle, which is a challenging card, the coffin, which is an ending, and the mouse, like I said, brings up obstacles. So these are a bit aggravated with the whip. The mouse typically is not very challenging. It just suggests issues and bumps and things like that. But the whip aggravates it. And the coffin at the end clearly brings an ending. So it's very clear from this triplet that you need to remove what is no longer working. You need to let go. And also, with the energy of the whip, it's a good idea to be a bit more aggressive with this. So don't drag your feet anymore around it. You know, be more straightforward and bring things to an end. So a very encouraging message in the sense that it tells you to, you know, move past this, you know, so it sort of pushes you a little bit on the other side of this. Now, the Star with the Anchor and Rider is actually a really bright combination. This is very positive. The Star and Anchor suggests a positive conclusion. And I think with the Rider, you could reach to the conclusion of something. So you've arrived at your destination. You've completed what you can. It's like you've gotten to the bottom of this and now it's time to move on. So I think from your side of all this, Gemini, you're in a good place. You know, you've done what you can and you feel good about it. And I also think you're looking forward to turning the page on this. We're not really seeing the new beginning just yet, but it tends to be associated with the coffin. So this is a very encouraging triplet. The Mouse and Star clearly suggest that you can overcome the issues and the challenges. You also need to move past them. The Whip and Anchor is very much about standing your ground in the face of this. So like I said earlier, there's an element of aggression or a bit more energy when it comes to dealing with this. And the Anchor certainly encourages you even further, Gemini, and encourages you to have confidence in yourself. The Coffin and Rider points to the end of a journey, an ending, and also to not move forward anymore with this. And also to not move forward with this at this point. So the message is clear, Gemini. This relationship or the issue, tension that you have with this person or the situation that is associated with this person needs to come to an end. It's time to move on. You've given it your best and what you can. From your side of the story, at least, you are in a good place because you've arrived at the conclusion that you want to, and now it's time to move on. And I think you're looking forward to the change. The Mouse with the Woman Anchor into the Clouds and Coffin is another confirmation that there is like a bit of a boundary with this person, and also that you've reached that point where you've done what you can. I also see the Mouse and Anchor as suggesting that she's stubborn. So again, this idea that you can't go through this anymore. You can't get through, I have to say, past this anymore. That's it. Like you've reached the point and you've reached the limit and now it's time to move on. The Clouds and Coffin encourages you to do that. It tells us that there isn't really much else to do at this point. And the clouds can bring up a bit of tension in terms of how you wrap things up at this point, Gemini, but I think you're going to be fine, you know, with especially with the star, anchor, and rider, and remember to have a strong confidence in yourself. The star with the woman into the whip, clouds, and rider. Again, I feel that, you know, things may have not been what you wanted them to be, but that's fine. And also that you've achieved what you can and it's time to move on. So the whip and clouds and rider certainly points to, you know, pursuing this would be the wrong direction and you want a change of direction. But also there can be some challenges in terms of communicating, Gemini, in terms of how you wrap things up, which really came through the clouds with the coffin, and we see it again in this triplet here. So the transition might be a bit challenging and uncomfortable, but it's very clear that now you're at the end of this and you're ready to move past it. So I think you're at the end of the road with this person, this situation, and I think you're looking forward to the other side of this. I would say avoid wobbling too much, Gemini. Have the conversation or what you need to do in order to wrap things up and move past it. I'm not so sure there's going to be an easier way, to be honest with you. I'm not so sure you're going to find a smoother way to deal with this. I think it's just really drawing the line and moving on because it's not progressing anymore. You're at the bottom of this. Now, in terms of what context this is figuring in, Gemini, it can go in different directions. It can be in different contexts. We're not really seeing indicators of a personal, intimate friendship, relationship, and also we're not really seeing clear indicators of work, money, business. So it's kind of neutral when it comes to the context, so it's going to depend on you. You let me know, Gemini, where this figured, what you're wrapping up, what you're closing off at this point, and hopefully you'll successfully do this, hopefully within the week. Let me know. As always, I look forward to your feedback. So very best of luck with the week. Thank you as always for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Cancer, let's get into your hourglass and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Cancer, here is your hourglass and it's looking really bright. There are positive changes and there is a new beginning that we see clearly through the Child, Road, and Stork. We have a lovely flowers here, and with the Heart and Moon, there's some bright energies. These are good cards for creativity. If you're up for expressing something or getting to work on a project, these are really encouraging. The Moon and Garden is a combination for an invitation, a gathering, or a get-together. It could be work related, and I think with the beautiful cards around here, it's going to be pretty positive. We do have the Fox. The Fox can be a bit tricky. It can point to something to be cautious of, an offer usually to be turned down with the Moon. But I have to say, Cancer, I'm not really inclined to see it this way. I think in this context, it's tending more to the job aspect. The Fox can be about work and employment, and you could be looking at a new job or a new project or a new opportunity where you are. The Heart and Stork is lovely. It is going after the things that you want. There's a change that makes you happy. There's some kind of relief. And it's definitely an encouragement for you to pursue things that make you happy. The Child and Flowers is lovely for renewal, for a new beginning, for a sense of refreshing. So a lovely energy here. It can also be a new branch of creativity, a new opportunity. All sorts of lovely new beginnings are possible here. The cards are clear though about you embracing this opportunity. Now the Heart with the Fox and Flowers, it can go in a couple of different directions, but again, I'm not inclined to see the Fox negatively. Now if it were a negative card, or in this context, with the Heart and Flowers, we could be looking at someone who is not genuine, someone who is a bit shallow, who is kind of nice for the sake of being nice and without really meaning it. At the same time, the Fox is a card of work, and because of the cards here, it's clear to me that you could be in for a new opportunity. And so with the Fox and Heart and Flowers, you could be looking at a new project that makes you happy. It could be a new customer, a new job, a new because of the Child, but a lovely opportunity as far as the Heart and Flowers are concerned. The Child with the Road and Stork is very clear. This is a new direction. There's a change. It could be a move. It could be something bigger, and it can be something physical where you move places and spaces. because the stork is often a card of movement and moves and house moves. Now also Cancer, the child and stork is the classic combination for pregnancy. So if you're looking at growing your family or starting a family, these are great cards for it. The fox would call for caution, as it always does, but otherwise these are really good cards for a new beginning and a fresh start. They're also clearly encouraging you to embrace this start. So turn the page, Cancer, and move on. This is exciting. The heart and child is, again, a wonderful and a happy new beginning, a bit like with the heart and stork. The message is really to do things that you love. The fox and road is trickier. It can point to a change that you need to be discreet about, because the fox is also a card of discretion and diplomacy. But like we said, the fox is also a card of job. So you could be looking at a new job and a T crosses the bottom line and suggests a new beginning and a positive change. The flowers and stork is lovely, a clear message of relief and a sense of re-engagement and enthusiasm. It's like you're coming back into play, Cancer, and you're feeling inspired again, and you have that energy to make changes and to embrace projects and also embrace your creativity. So really nice cards. They bring a lovely, refreshing energy, and they bring good news across the board. They're great for work, they're great for people, they're great for changes in your life, whatever area it is for you specifically. Now, the heart with the moon into the road, garden, and flowers is lovely for people and this environment. I definitely think that you need to get out, Cancer, and embrace a more expansive energy. So go out, be with people, embrace projects, embrace customers, get involved, and it's really going to inspire you. The child with the moon points to a new phase, and the moon and fox, like I said, can suggest turning down an offer, but I'm not inclined to see it this way. I think it's actually the opposite. I think it's a work offer and a very positive change that you move into. So really nice cards, Cancer. A lovely energy of enthusiasm and a sense of expansion, a sense of growth, I would say, as well, and creativity. They're great for jobs. They're great for re-engaging with people and places, and very much about making changes. So embrace this new direction, Cancer, and go for it. I certainly hope you do within the week. I certainly hope it's aligned with what you want, with everything you want. Let me know how it goes, Cancer. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Leo, let's get into your hourglass and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Leo, here is your hourglass, and we do have the bright key, which is a card of answers and solutions, and it opens doors and unlocks opportunities. The ship is also bright, but everything else is kind of neutral, and I think we are looking at some dynamic more than anything else here. We have the man, the garden, and the house, and this looks like visiting with someone or traveling to someone or someone traveling and get together with this person. Who this person is specifically, it depends on your situation, Leo. Based on the cards, just from an overview, as I said, they're kind of neutral, and also they don't really tell us what context this is figuring in. It could be personal, it could be in another area of your life. The tower and house can point to a place from the past, a house from the past. It could be your family home or your roots and places like this, but not necessarily. The ship and anchor is about traveling and arriving to some place, probably to this place from the past. And the garden and road is very much about travel and going places. So the cards are clearly focused on this idea of going places, getting together with someone, or going places with this person. And we have the garden and house in the cards along with the anchor. So there's a strong sense of the place and meeting with this person. The tower with the key and anchor is a very bright combination. It brings answers from the past or in regards to this place, which is often a card of something official, like organizations, government, and things like that. Now, if this is a personal relationship, it might not be that. Instead, it would be something more about your past or the long-term connection that you have with this person and this place. The key and anchor, though, is lovely for a positive conclusion and arriving. And it is also a great combination for making things happen. So things materialize, and now you see like a tangible outcome for your effort or for this relationship materializing. So really nice cards. It is also a really good suggestion for connecting with the past, connecting with these people, and also creating a strong foundation moving forward. The ship with the man and house, again, like we said, this traveling to meet with someone or someone traveling, regardless of how it happens exactly, whether it's you or them or both of you, there is a clear message here of meeting with someone and the movement that it involves. The ship is also a nice card in general. It is a positive card that brings progress, and it's expansive, and it's a card of adventure. So it sounds like there's an opportunity here to have fun, enjoy some good times with these people or this person, and to enjoy going places. The Tower and ship is, like we saw in a few different combinations already, there's an element of going back to the past. There can be something growing out of the past, but I think it's more about reconnecting in the context of the layout here. And again, the ship brings progress and forward movement. The key and man suggests someone who brings answers. There's a very positive connection here. And the anchor and house is clearly about being still and settled. It can be a move, it can be changes, but like I said, it can also be traveling to be with this person and reconnecting. So there's a strong sense of connection. There is probably a lot in common between you and these people or this person, and the cards are encouraging you to really create a strong foundation in this context or with these people. So it's strong on the social front, and it is also strong on this idea of having a foundation. The Tower with the garden man into the road and anchor really supports what we said. There's a meeting, probably someone from the past, and probably also someone you've known a while, and with the road and anchor there is a coming together. It is also about a conclusion and arriving. The ship with the guard and key, and then the road and house is similar. There's a sense of arriving and traveling in order to land in this place. You could be moving, and you could be going farther. You know, it can be a move of countries or going to a different place farther from where you are. But it's definitely encouraged, Leo, and it brings a sense of security and stability and strength in the relationships and strength in your sense of foundation. Like I said, the context and who these people are or this person is flexible. In terms of personal relationships, I think home, family, and longer term connections are in focus. In terms of work, you could get a good job, you could get a good project, you could also be growing your customers. You could land a deal. These are bright in this sense. They are cards that bring security and a sense of well-being in general. You could be dealing in property and other sorts of transactions, because we see the sale and the moves and the changes. And if you're moving homes, which I can't dismiss altogether, Leo, then it's going to be the right thing to do, and you're going to land in the right place. There are helpful people around you. It's good to connect and create a sense of security overall in your life. So really nice cards. Let me know what you make of them, Leo, how you resonated with them. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Virgo, let's get into your hourglass and see what is in store for you. Okay, Virgo, here is a powerful reading and an exciting one. What stands out, I have to say, what immediately stands out is that it's very much a dynamic and not so much people, places, or something specific happening. We have the Scythe, which is the loudest card in the layout, and we have some really bright cards. So it looks like there's a positive change and a strong release. The Clover and Scythe is a combination of a lucky break, and you could get a very positive change. You could luckily escape something. That's also possible. But the Scythe is very sharp, and it creates change and release. The Star is an all-around wish fulfillment and happy card, and we also see it with the Scythe along with the Clover. So these are some really bright cards. Now the Ship and Star is very much a lovely trip. a wonderful direction that materializes, and also you could see your efforts pay off. So a really nice pair here. The Tower and Cross is a bit more spiritual. It's a bit more on the inside. There can be a sense of your direction and your purpose, I would even say, and some kind of decision that affects the changes that you are going through this week. The Tower and Cross can bring in an element of taking stock of how far you've come to see where you're going to move forward in the coming phase. And of course, with the Scythe, you could be making some pretty radical changes at this stage, Virgo. The ship with the Bear and Cross is an important trip. It could be a big trip. It could be a big change. And if it's not about travel in a physical sense, it's definitely an important journey that is opening up for you. The Bear is a card of strength and power, and the Cross is a card of burden. So this is definitely a combination that encourages you to take up the challenge and make the change and live up to the things that you want. So it can feel like there's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, or that it's a big step that could be a bit intimidating, Virgo, but it's clear to me in the cards that you're going to take this up. The Tower with the Fish and Star is lovely for money. This is all around abundance and success, especially for the long term. The Tower, when it comes to money, is a card of pension, retirement, this long-term vision and the sense of security. And the Fish and Star is very much about wish fulfillment and things materializing in this sense. Also a great combination for jobs, work, projects. So not necessarily money in a straightforward sense, but things that enhance your prosperity and your sense of engagement in general. The Ship and Tower is great for the long term and this long-term journey that you're in for. It's going to be important, Virgo, that you keep your long-term objectives in focus. Make sure that the changes that you're doing contribute to this big picture. The Bear and Fish is great for abundance. This is the combination of wealth. This is the combination of the millionaire. Now, of course, most of us are not millionaires, but it is great for abundance and a sense of security. So there can be a really positive change that affects your sense of prosperity and well-being. The Cross and Star is lovely for all-around wish fulfillment. And also, like I was saying with the Tower and Cross, Virgo, this does bring in the deeper commitments in your life, the deeper your deeper purpose, you know, those objectives that align with your inner life more. And we see this, these changes really enabling you to align with that. So it's a pretty powerful reading. And I think the changes that we're seeing here, the growth, the empowerment, are not just about money. I think they affect you in different ways and at different levels of your life. The Ship, Clover, and Scythe is lovely for money and prosperity. It's great for projects and effort paying off. And the Scythe and Cross is a significant change. Virgo, this could be a major release. I am also suspecting that you might need to let go of certain attachments that are in the way of this new freedom that is waiting for you. This could take a bit of strength and courage to let go of. We see this here with the Bear and Scythe, but it's definitely going to pay off, not just from the start, but the whole reading. We have the Tower with the Clover and Bear. So again, this element of growth and promotion. The Bear and Tower can very much suggest leveling up, and the Clover is very lucky. It is a breakthrough, that's definitely the case, and it is aligned with your goals. So it's very much a lucky break, a breakthrough, an opportunity, a golden opportunity even for you to make a radical change, Virgo, that can open up the door to a lot more prosperity now and down the line. The Bear and Scythe can, like I said, be requiring that, you know, that strength. So maybe not easy. And we also have the Bear and Cross, but definitely something that you need to do at this point. It's like, Virgo, you've reached the limit and now you need to break through the ceiling in order to go to the next level. So this is on you. You have to embrace your power, you have to embrace your growth, and you have to move up to the next level. And, you know, it's a bit of a big reading for a smallish weekly reading, but at least you could begin aligning with these energies this week, Virgo. And apart from the money card and the card of work, prosperity, we're not really seeing other areas of your life. So I think this is more focused on your sense of power, your sense of well-being now and the longer term, and very much aligning with that calling to grow. Let me know what you make of these lovely cards. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and your feedback. Very best of luck with the week. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Libra, let's get into your hourglass and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Libra, here is your hourglass, and we have the beautiful star on the right-hand side, along with the tree and anchor on this side, which is a really nice message of healing and success and overcoming challenges. We do see a couple of challenging cards. We have the snake and the mouse, and they're not very dramatic, but the snake in particular can be a bit challenging. Now, the mountain and mouse points to obstacles. Typically, it points to a problem that you need to overcome. It can suggest a blockage or things slowing you down, sort of standing in your way. And the mouse it's not a very challenging card, but with the mountain, it can be a little bit more aggravated. And certainly the mouse brings out the more challenging aspects of the mountain, because the mountain can also point to a place abroad or travel. So that is a possibility. Now, the snake and anchor is a particular combination meaning as far as I'm concerned. And the snake in this context might suggest wanting to move away, to let go of something, but the anchor suggests that you shouldn't give up on it. So give this a bit of time. And it sounds like despite the issues that we see through the mountain and mouse, despite the challenges, the blockages, the snake and anchor encourage you to give it time and to stick with it. The man and star is a very beautiful combination. It points to success and healing and very positive connection here with this person. Now, who this person is going to come down to your specific, but typically the man and woman cards in the Lenormand, they suggest someone who is pretty close to you or pretty significant to your situation. And the snake and man would be the opposite of that. It would mean someone who is deceptive, someone who is toxic and, playing to win, playing against you, doing things behind your back and being deceptive. So it sounds like initially there can be some question marks around this person, but if you give it a bit of time, you'll come out and see that it is a much better situation than you had thought. The letter entry is very good news that comes through and probably answers a wish, especially since we have the star and anchor nearby. And also it grows into something really lovely. And the star and anchor is the brightest combination of your hourglass, Libra. It points to success and a very positive conclusion. So it sounds like you need to be patient with this person to come around, and in all probability the snake is not as deceptive and toxic as it can be. Now, the snake letter and star really adds to what we're saying here. The snake and letter would point to silence and secrecy or not getting the news, but then the star suggests that it does come through and it answers a wish. The thing about the snake and letter is that you want to let things go. You want to let this person to come around and to get in touch and share the good news. The man with the tree and anchor is very beautiful for a relationship. It certainly points to a steady and stable relationship, and there is definitely trust, which would come into contrast with the snake. So again, I think the way the hourglass is playing out, it tells us that the snake is really not as deceptive as it can be. It sounds like this is more about giving this person time and not being pushy and allowing things to unfold. Now, the snake with the mountain, tree into the mouse and star is also lovely. The mountain and tree and mouse here, actually all four cards, they really point to something that is slower, dragging, taking time, and it sounds like it's indirect approach that is needed here, but eventually it does come through, and there's this beautiful star at the end of the line. The man with the mountain letter, mouse and anchor is more on the neutral side. The mouse is a little bit challenging, but the anchor definitely points to a positive conclusion. So it looks, Libra, like things are taking a bit of time, and this could be part of the frustration, but the cards are very clear about being patient and allowing this to come through, because it will come through. So it might not come through in the way that you want or as soon as you want, but it is in process, and you are gonna get some good news eventually, and hopefully within the week as well. Now, the cards can be read in different contexts. They make sense for work, for money, for people. other areas of your life, we don't really see what theme or context is in focus through these cards. They can affect any context equally. Now, suppose it's a personal relationship. There could have been some tensions or doubts, and maybe things weren't moving. It's also possible that this person is in a different location, or there's some kind of distance between the two of you, but still there is a positive conclusion if you just give it a bit of time. In terms of work and business and practical areas of your life, you could be working through some paperwork or trying to get some feedback or a response from someone. And it could be taking time and dragging. It certainly is the case based on the cards, but again, a bit of patience and things come through. So it's really the same dynamic in any context. There is a bit of a struggle, a bit of an indirect path, and things are taking time and dragging and annoying, but they are positive at the end of the day if you just be patient a while longer. So don't give up on this, Libra. Let me know what you make of these cards. Let me know in what context you feel they played out for you. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Scorpio, let's get into your hourglass and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Scorpio, here is your hourglass, and people and meetings and conversations are very much in the cards, especially on this side, although we also have the letter in here. So we have the ring and garden. These represent a relationship and people. We have the dog, which is often a friend, and we have the letter and bird. Both cards are communication cards. So it's pretty clear that this is going to be in focus for you this week. Contact, outreach, meetings, communication. In the center, we have the anchor and bird, which is very good for a conversation and also for arriving at a conclusion. So there's a sense of agreement and understanding, and that sounds like it's the effort, that's the goal this week. The letter and ring is very good for connections and relationships. More specifically, it can represent a contract, and it works really well with the anchor and bird because it does highlight that sense of agreement. Now, the snake and garden is tricky because the snake and garden suggest a snake in the grass, which is a metaphor for saying that there can be danger or someone that you need to be careful of or something. So just be careful about this environment and realize that if you're getting to know this, there's an agreement. If you're moving forward within a certain environment, with a certain group of people, you want to be careful, at least at first, as you get to know this environment. In all probability, not everyone is what you expect them to be. There are definitely going to be characters that are not what they seem to be, which I think is pretty normal. But also the snake is very much a card of silence and secrecy. So it also suggests, especially with the garden and people cards, that you don't talk so much and you don't reveal so much. So make it a point to observe and take your time getting to know others. Now, the letter with the mountain and garden points to news, usually from a place abroad because of the mountain. It can also suggest a place that's farther from where you are. The mountain is sometimes an obstacle. So in terms of communication, there could have been some blockages or maybe things not coming through. But I think because there's so many communicative cards, it's possible that it's online or in a place abroad. And if it is an obstacle or a blockage of sorts, it's pretty clear from this side of the hourglass that you overcome it, and also from the clear anchor and bird in here. Now, the snake with the dog and ring can warn you against certain people. The snake with people cards is often the more, alerting kind of combination. It can point to someone deceptive, someone who's playing against you and playing to win, and people like that. At the same time, we have the ring on the other side of the dog. So it sounds like you are going to be in connection or in some kind of relationship with certain people who are not the easiest to handle, Scorpio, but it sounds like you are on top of it. And also, it's another reminder not to reveal, much about yourself and what you're doing. You could also be making a move. I have a feeling that you could be making a move or making a change. And at this stage, it sounds like some people shouldn't be in the know with regards to your plan, Scorpio. So keep some things to yourself. The letter and snake is along those lines as well. It can be news or contact or some information that you are privy to. And so it sounds like it's a secret, or again, like we said, some things you want to keep to yourself, at least at this stage. The mountain and dog represent someone who's abroad or online or, in a different location. It can also represent someone who's a bit of a, not easy to get through to. And this could also align with the snake. But again, it sounds like you do eventually get through to this person. We have the anchor and bird, which is great for a strong sense of communication and also a solid understanding. And the garden and ring is very much a combination for being involved in a certain community or a certain place. And it is very good for relationships and connections. Classically, it's the combination of marriage or weddings. But I think in this context, it's not really that. And for my part, these, specific combinations or specific meanings, I prefer more cards, or at least a triplet to confirm this, but, just putting it out there. So it's very clear from these cards, Scorpio, that this is about communicating with someone and getting in touch with them and also reaching an agreement with someone. I think there is a fair share of negotiation. It sounds like diplomacy and tact, and this indirect approach that is highlighted by the snake is very much in focus. Don't be quick to reveal anything. Be aware that not everyone is what you expect them to be. There can be some deceptive characters and people playing against you. So just, keep it calm and cool. I think you're going to be involved with this. I think there's a solid foundation for this, but it doesn't mean that you turn a blind eye to the environment that you're in. Okay, so you want to also focus on your advantage. So don't give away your cards. Don't give away what you're up to. Be careful about that. The letter with the anchor and dog, bird, and garden is very much a meeting, so an opportunity to meet or some kind of invitation. It could be something like an interview, a negotiating kind of opportunity, but we definitely see the progression from contact to meeting here through these cards. The snake, anchor, and mountain into the bird and ring is sort of similar. The anchor and mountain here really suggests this solid and hard kind of energy. And with the snake, it's really about getting a way around this. So it might seem like things are rigid and not moving, but you will be in touch and there is going to be an agreement, as we see through the bird and ring. And as we saw in many different combinations here. So even though the cards are kind of neutral, there is a generally positive conclusion, Scorpio. You do come to an understanding with someone. You could actually get a contract or get an agreement or get a deal. It might be a bit of an indirect route, and you need to be cautious, how you play it, but it is looking like a really good conclusion for you. So don't give up on this, and be in touch, and be patient and careful, and I think you'll find that you'll have a really good opportunity to negotiate, be in touch, and achieve a very good conclusion for you. Now, in terms of the context, the cards are really flexible. We don't see a context card. Cards like work, money, love, home, family, these cards that tend to suggest a theme, we don't see any of them here. So the cards can apply in any context. In personal relationships, there could be a bit of a game here. There might be a third party, because the snake is often the card of cheating and dishonesty and other people interfering in the relationship. And we see it with the dog, which can come in contrast with the garden and ring. But I do think that in such a scenario, you do have the upper hand. And we're not seeing drama, we're not seeing fallout, so it sounds like things are under control. If it's not about that, it sounds like the relationship is still forming and you're not sure how you feel, how they feel, but it is clearly an opportunity to meet and probably also strengthen the relationship. In terms of other areas like work, money, practical areas, there's definitely an agreement. You could get a deal, you could get a contract, you could get a job or a project. You could really seal something because the anchor with the bird and the anchor with the letter and the ring and bird, ring and garden, there's quite a few combinations here that really suggest something. There's like this agreement, and it is a strong agreement. So it's great for a contract, an agreement, a deal, or something that materializes for you in this way. Again, diplomacy and tact and being patient are key, but we're definitely seeing a positive conclusion. Let me know if it is a positive conclusion for you, Scorpio. I certainly hope it is. Let me know what kind of deal or agreement or understanding you've arrived at this week. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Thank you for tuning in, Scorpio. Very best of luck with the week, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Welcome to your weekly reading, Sagittarius. Let's get into your hourglass and see what is ahead for you this week. Okay, Sagittarius, here is your hourglass, and we do have the scythe and whip in the cards. We have them in contrast with the lily and tree, and this tells me that something is going to be shaken up. The status quo is going to be shaken up. There's going to be a bit of a change here, and probably one that's going to rock the boat. Now, the letter and lily in the middle is often news of work. It can be an offer. It can also be news that affects your life as a whole. That's because the lily is a card of career, and also it affects your life in general. So the news seems to be important, and it affects your direction. The moon and whip, though, at the corners can go in a couple of different ways. It can suggest an offer that you turn down. It can mean an offer that isn't good, and it could also mean something like an offer or another opportunity that shakes things up, and it can be unexpected, and it can create a sense of urgency. The cross and tree suggests taking a bit of time thinking about this, but at the same time you have to make a decision, Sagittarius, because the cross brings that element of importance and it brings a bit of burden. It is also a card of decisions and potentially sacrifices. The tree is a slower card. It is often a card of taking time out specifically for perspective. So it's a really good card to get in the context of these cards. Now, the moon with the scythe and tree, this is a first clear message of a big change. The scythe with the tree point to something being uprooted. And with the moon, it can be this offer that brings this about. It can also soften the edge a little bit of the scythe and make it a bit softer than it can be. But it's clear that you're in for a change of a phase. The moon is also a card of phases and transformation, through the phases of the moon. And the scythe and tree is very much about uprooting, cutting, and so there's a clear change in the cards. The cross with the flowers and whip is sort of similar because the whip is aggressive like the scythe. It has that big energy of shaking things up. The cross and flowers points to some decisions. I'm suspecting also some sacrifices or needing to make a tougher decision here. And the flowers can also suggest, it's usually a very bright and happy card, but with the whip it's a little bit compromised, and with the cross it takes on a bit of a different nuance here. So this has to do with your creativity and your productivity, but it does also mean that you could be disappointed with something and you have to let go of something in favor of something else. So again, we see that your boat is going to be rocked and it can shake things up a little bit. The moon with the cross is another message of having to assess an offer or an invitation or a possibility. Just like we saw the cross with the tree, the moon is the offer card, and with the cross there's that element of having to weigh things out. The scythe with the flowers, I would say a bit like with the tree, it's not this uprooting in the same way, but I do think that it cuts short something because of this news or this offer that comes through. And it can be something that you turn down, Sagittarius. So if you do not want your path to be changed or shaken, you might need to be really sharp about saying no and getting things out of your way in order to pursue your path. And the flip side of that would be that your path is going to be disrupted in order to embrace this possibility. Now, from the overall feel of the cards and a few clear messages through the scythe and tree, this tree and whip, and this part here that we'll see in a bit, it seems to me, Sagittarius, that you could be making a deeper change. The tree and whip again shakes things up. The status quo is shaken up. There can be some challenges that you need to face up to, but they're not like a regular challenge. It's more like a challenge about adapting and making this change. The moon with the letter and flowers into the lily and tree This is actually a really bright combination. This is a very positive news or invitation that comes through. And again, I really think this has to do with an offer. And with the lily and tree, it points to growth. And I would say also a sense of renewal and creativity. So I do think that this opportunity really inspires you to re-engage in your creativity and things that are closer to your path. And it does seem to take you out from the present status quo. It does call for you to shake things up and change things around, and maybe that's not easy, but it certainly has a benefit. The cross with the letter and scythe into the lily and whip is, again, we're seeing here a very strong pair through the scythe and whip, close to the lily, which is a card of career and life path or your direction in a broader sense. And this news really shake things up. And I do think that you need to make changes, Sagittarius. This is definitely an opportunity, at least to start within the week, to redirect and to change things around in order to embrace something a bit more inspiring and more engaging for you. So these are, I have to say, these are some bigger cards for a weekly reading. And you know, the implications of such changes, if they are applying to you, they probably wouldn't pan out within a week. It'd probably go beyond that. But at least within the week, we see the seeds being sown for that. We see the shake-up starting, and you know, these this awareness and the change of direction and redirecting that could be ahead for you. Now, in a more sort of toned down interpretation, you could be getting a job opportunity, and this can cause you to make a change. In terms of other areas of your life, the same sort of situation applies. I'm not really seeing people cards here. I don't think this has to do with people or something personal. I think it affects either your work or your direction as a whole, or some kind of activity that you're engaged in. It can also affect your lifestyle, where maybe you get a fright, or you know, you get a sense of urgency towards living more healthfully and doing things in a better way, in a healthier way for you. And that's definitely a good thing. So you want to embrace this opportunity to inspire yourself to do things in a more healthy way, a more inspiring way for you. So all of these can apply depending on your specific context, and what the news is exactly is also tied to that. So you let me know, Sagittarius, what you make of these, and if there's a bigger change coming up for you, I'd be really interested to know. Very best of luck with this. I think it's generally exciting. Thank you for tuning in as always, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Capricorn, let's get into your hourglass and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Capricorn, here is your hourglass, and it should be clear that a relationship is in focus. We have both the woman and the man. They represent any two people, but we also have the ring, which tends to suggest a closer relationship. The moon is also a nice card. It has that soft, gentle energy. It can suggest attraction and chemistry, so it really adds to this relationship aspect here. We do have the whip, though, earlier in the hourglass, and the whip is typically a challenging card. Now, I think overall, when we're just scanning the cards like this, it sounds like there could have been an argument or a disagreement, but then things are patched up because we have the ring at the end of the hourglass to the right. So the woman and stork suggest changes or moves or activity that picks up with this person. I think because of the letter and other combinations, it can mean that she's back in contact, and so it's going to bring the relationship closer. There can also be some travel. That's a possibility, because the mountain is often a card of a place abroad or farther away. So there could have been some distance, but it sounds like the stork brings up some kind of activity that could bring the relationship closer, certainly when we look at these cards. Now, the mountain and man suggest someone who is based abroad or who is farther away from the woman, whoever, you know, whichever one you are. That's flexible. And the whip and ring points to a breakup normally, or at least a disagreement or something broken like that. So it sounds like the relationship has gone through troubles or has had challenges. But I can also add, Capricorn, that there is a third party in the picture, and maybe that's where there's a break off. So if it was a love triangle, maybe one party falls out and the other two can get together. That's possible. And the cards seem to be a personal reading in terms of a personal relationship. but we can interpret them for other contexts as well. Let's leave that to the end. The mountain with the letter and ring, the letter and ring specifically are great for a contract or an agreement. The mountain earlier suggests that it's through a location abroad or having that connection with that place abroad. But the mountain is also a card of obstacles, and certainly it would be with a card like the whip. And as an obstacle, it tends to be a blockage, something stuck. And so there could have been a time apart or things where you're not moving forward. But with the letter and ring, and especially in this order of the cards, it's a lot more promising, Capricorn, and it suggests that you are in touch with this person after this blockage or these obstacles and challenges. And specifically, like I said, the letter and ring is very much a card of a combination of agreements and contracts. So it sounds like there's a positive conclusion with this person. Now, the whip with the moon and man suggests softening up the issues here. The moon is not so positive that it can overturn a card like the whip, but it certainly softens the edges. And with the ring and man on the right-hand side, we have support for suggesting that things can heal or, soften up and improve. The moon with the whip points to blockages and obstacles, and the whip is very much about breaking through these obstacles. It can also mean that there was challenges or arguments, disagreements that have caused a rift in the relationship. And I say that because the mountain is a card of distance. And when it comes to relationship, it tends to represent cold emotions. So, like being apart in a colder kind of way. So these are possible through the mountain and whip. The letter and moon is very much an offer and an invitation. And I think this ties into the woman and stork, this activity that comes through. And certainly with the ring and man, there is a clear connection, a relationship, and an agreement, especially thanks to the letter. So there is a clear progression from the challenges earlier in the hourglass to the coming together in the left-hand side of the hourglass. So really positive cards to overcome challenges in a relationship, issues, distance, and coming back together. The mountain with the woman and moon into the stork and ring is very supportive of that. There is, I'm not sure who could be initiating the activity or what brings you back together or what brings you together, but there is certainly this idea of picking things up, and there is progress. There could also be travel. Maybe the invitation suggests going places or going to that location. All of these more minute details depend on your specific situation. The whip with the woman, letter, stork, and man clearly point to the communication and getting in touch. Again, we see the whip earlier in the line, which is great. So you move past the issues and you do take initiative, whether it's you or the other person, to be in touch again together. So really bright cards for a relationship, for a connection, and also for overcoming the challenges that were in the way of it. Now, I said earlier that it seems to be a bit of a personal reading because we have the ring, man, and woman, and the moon tends to be a bit of a more intimate kind of card. But the layout, the spread as a whole, can apply to other contexts. We could be looking at a business connection, for example. The same dynamics would apply. There were obstacles and issues. Maybe there was a misunderstanding and disagreements and things like that. But it sounds like with positive initiative, the relationship comes through. It's also possible that the problems, the issues that we see through the whip are not challenges like between you and the person. There could be circumstantial or, they sort of affect the whole situation. It was maybe out of people's control. And so now that they're behind you, you're able to move past them and get together with this person. And this can apply regardless of the context. So the cards are flexible. It could be a personal relationship, family relationship, a work relationship, another sort of relationship. The dynamics are pretty clear in the cards. I have to say this week, I haven't gotten a lot of theme cards. The layouts seem to be representing a lot of the dynamics, and so the cards are flexible in terms of context. You let me know, Capricorn, what you make of them. Let me know who these people are, what the relationship was about, what the challenges were about, and in what context is figured. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Aquarius, let's get into your hourglass and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Aquarius, here is your hourglass, and it's a bit of a balance between the fox and snake energies and the very positive energies here. So it sounds like it's a balancing act for you this week, where you need to manage some people and move forward with others, or with the same people you're managing some difficult aspect, and at the same time you're able to make progress. Now the Fox and Rider is a combination that can go in a few different ways. It comes down really to your specific context, but broadly speaking, this is a good combination for jobs and work because the Fox is often a job card. The Rider, though, is very good with taking things in stride and moving forward. And so if the Fox is on a more challenging kind of energy, because the Fox tends to be a deceptive card, the Rider is really good at managing that. And also the Fox is clever and it knows what it wants and how to get it, just like the snake. And the Rider is also a goal-oriented card. So these are really good cards for going after your goals and also being disciplined about them. So it sounds like this is about work, getting things done, moving forward with consistency, and doing what you need to do. The woman with the dog clearly represents a friend, and the garden and ship can represent going places. So we see here a social aspect and focus for you this week, where people they surround you and they're part of the things that you are working through. The ship is often a card of travel, so you could be going somewhere farther, but it can also represent activity and going places. So this could be quite exciting. Now, the woman with the snake and ship clearly represents someone who is difficult to deal with and with whom you need to assume a more indirect approach. The snake and flowers, which is the middle column, and they T-cross at the snake, is often a combination that suggests someone who is false to your face, someone who is deceptive, someone who is charming and nice, but they don't really mean it. And the same is similar with the fox and flowers, although with the snake it's a bit stronger. So clearly there is a person whom you need to manage carefully. Now the garden with the flowers and dog is quite nice. This can be a celebration, a party, or a fun activity with people and friends, and so there can be some really good progress in this regard. And when I see the contrast between the top row and the bottom row, one scenario that comes to mind, Aquarius, and you let me know if you resonate with this, is that there can be a certain character among this group or this environment. There is a character who seems to be envious and trying to make things difficult for you. So this could be the one whom you need to manage and to be careful of. At the same time, Aquarius, the snake and fox are both cards of silence and discretion. So you definitely want to be selective about what you share with whom. And also it's a good idea to maintain a positive front all throughout. So, the fox and snake, they can warn you about other people, but they can also endow you with certain characteristics that are usually to your advantage. The woman and garden is a meeting with someone, sort of similar to what we see in the bottom row. Clearly, this could be a social week and there are gatherings and get together. The snake and flowers, like I said, this is a cautionary message. This could be someone who is fake and not really genuine. So just be aware of that. And at the same time, it's a good idea for you to maintain a nice, kind front. The ship and dog is great for going places with people, but I'm also thinking that it could represent customers, colleagues, or other people in our work environment. And so things are moving forward in this regard. There is positive activity and progress. So despite the, these muted energies of the fox and snake and how they have this, cautionary aspect and deceptive aspect, we see some really good cards here that it brings progress. So I want to suggest, Aquarius, that you don't let the more negative folks get in the way of your progress. Okay, manage them calmly and keep enjoying this positive energy and the progress that we're seeing here. The woman with the fox and flowers into the rider and ship is actually really good for work and projects. I'm thinking maybe this is a customer or a colleague or someone whom you need to, work with. And there is a positive way forward here with the flowers, rider, and ship. The garden with the fox and snake, along with the rider and dog. So this is clearly a trickier combination because we have both the fox and snake together. And so these challenging aspects of each of the fox and snake is highlighted even more when they come together. But the rider and dog is still, like I said earlier, the rider is really good at taking things in stride. So keep moving forward. Of course, be aware of this energy, but keep moving forward and keep connecting with this person or these people. So I think it's a generally positive reading. You might, you let me know how you feel about it, but there is definitely good progress, and there's even creativity and forward movement in your objectives, in your projects. Yes, there are some characters that are questionable, maybe annoying, maybe envious, but I think you're able to move past them and focus on the bigger picture and the good stuff. And also Aquarius, the cards can apply in a few different contexts. We're not really seeing, well, we sort of are. We have the fox and ship. These can be work-related cards. At the same time, we do have the garden, the flowers, and the dog, and the snake, and these can also have a more personal reading. So really the context can apply in different contexts. In terms of work, I think projects move well. You have to manage certain characters. And in terms of personal relationships, I think there are some people that you need to stay away from. They could be rivals or, they're jealous and things like that. And focus on those who are supportive and connect with those who are supportive. There's no need to make a fuss of anything. We're not seeing confrontational cards at all. So keep the energy light as much as possible and focus on your work and on getting things done. Let me know what you make of these ideas, Aquarius. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Pisces, let's get into your weekly reading. Let's draw your hourglass and see what is ahead for you. Okay, Pisces, here is your hourglass. It has a generally neutral feel. But in terms of contact with someone, it is positive because it looks like there is contact and there is a kind of moving forward or getting past something. We have the letter N man in the middle. This clearly brings news and communication with someone or from someone. And who this man is really going to depend on your situation. And also Pisces, the rest of the cards, they're not really indicating a context. They're not bringing up work or money or home, family, or even personal relationships. So it can depend on your specific situation. The dog and stork is very good for activity with someone. There can be some fun things or some active, an opportunity to do something with someone. So it's a pretty active combination. And also things could be picking up with this person. It relates probably with the letter here, which is, the news. So it's like the news comes in and it gives you some kind of green light. The ship and tree is great for progress. It's also great for growth. The tree is a card of growth, and we see it with both the stork and the ship. So I think in terms of work, we could even be looking at a promotion. This is possible. Otherwise, in other contexts, there's definitely a sense of growth and well-being as well, and progress. The dog with the road and tree is being on a path of growth. It looks like the relationship develops positively, and you could be exploring or doing things with this person. So again, even though the cards are generally neutral, they do have a positive reading because they bring some progress and activity with this person that is on the right track. Now, in the bottom line, we have the snake. And the snake is a trickier card. It is often a card of deception. It can be quite toxic. And it is also a card of silence and secrecy. So it does come a bit in contrast with everything else that we're seeing, although it is on the quieter side with the tree. Now, between the ship and stork, it's quite an interesting triplet here. The ship and stork are very much about movement and change, and it can also point to travel. The snake is also a card of movement. It can bring about change, but it is quieter and it's more discreet than the more outward energies of the ship and stork. Now, what I'm also thinking is that there can be a change of direction. We have the road and snake together in the middle column, and this really highlights this idea of a winding path. So it could be an indirect path, but it definitely does call for change between the ship and stork here. So we're seeing progress, movement, and an adjustment in the very least. So these are some pretty bright cards, and I think they can bring a sense of excitement. It's just that it's not as outward with the snake. The dog and ship points to travel with this person, or someone traveling, or you traveling to them. And if it's not about travel, they're really good, a really good combination for activity and things picking up, a bit like what we saw with the ship and tree. And the tree and stork is about growth. Like I said earlier, it can represent a promotion. So there's definitely a step up. It's just that the snake dampens a little bit the energy and asks you to be a bit more discreet or more cautious about these changes. But we are certainly seeing them. And so tying them with the letter and man, it's very likely, Pisces, that this person gives you the green light to make this change, to grow. It can be an invitation to do something. It can be an outright offer of work, some kind of project, some kind of collaboration. In terms of personal relationships, there could have been a bit of a tension between you and this person. Maybe it wasn't the most straightforward path to be in touch, but certainly we see that there is contact. And also, when it comes to personal relationships, Pisces, the snake is often a card of deception. It tends to be the card of cheating, and it represents a third party. So it's possible that there could have been a triangle and one falls out, and you're able to move forward in the relationship. That too is possible. I have to say that despite the snake, there's no drama in the cards. The cards are peaceful and easygoing, and the snake really just adds an element of caution. And even if it is about a third party in a love triangle or a situation like that, we're not seeing drama. It's about moving forward and moving ahead in the relationship. So quite a peaceful reading, positive changes, growth, and also a good connection. We've got the dog, letter, and snake into the man and tree. The snake can, bring a bit of challenge with this person here, but again, I think it's more about the indirect path. And also, Pisces, I want to suggest that you don't be pushy or anything like that. Just allow things to fall into place, because they are. The ship with the letter and road into the man and stork, again, really highlighting this news and how it brings about change and activity picking up. It can be quite exciting. Just don't push it. And if there are, factors that are a bit difficult, be chill about them, because it looks like they're going to be taken care of and things are going to fall into place, and there's a lovely opportunity for growth in here. So let me know what you make of these ideas, Pisces. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Let me know in what context they figure. I'd be interested to know who this person was for you. Thank you as always for tuning in. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself.